So good in speeches, honestly. I don't know what else to say. But I want to start with you. You're a fighter. You also push me so hard to be a better player, and I like our rivalry. You're incredible. I'm happy to see you back in the finals, and really hope to play many more. So congrats to you and your team. Doing.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hold up, Aryna Sabalenka just pulled a move nobody saw coming, and the entire WTA scene is buzzing about it. After taking down Coco Gauff in the Miami Open 2026 final, Sabalenka didn't just soak in another huge victory. Listen to this, she paused and gave Coco real praise, but in a tone we've honestly never heard from her before. And that right there is why this moment hits differently. If you've been following women's tennis lately, you already know this Sabalenka-Gauff rivalry has never been your typical matchup. This has been one of the fiercest, most watched, and emotionally loaded rivalries in the sport. Both players are top tier, both are global stars, both bring serious power, personality, and pressure every single time they step on the court. But let's be real, there's always been a sharp edge to this rivalry, especially after their biggest clashes on the biggest stages. That's exactly why Sabalenka's words after winning in Miami caught so many people off guard. Instead of keeping things icy, instead of turning the spotlight only on herself, and instead of brushing off Coco's performance, Sabalenka finally gave Gauff the level of respect fans have been waiting to hear for a long time. She straight up called Coco an incredible competitor. She made it clear that what's between them isn't hate, isn't personal drama, but pure competitive fire. And honestly, the biggest takeaway was her admitting that since Coco Gauff stepped onto the scene, she's forced Sabalenka to elevate her own game. That's a huge statement coming from the world number one. That's not just some casual compliment, that's her admitting Coco Gauff plays a major role in shaping the very top level of women's tennis right now. And girl, that's what makes this moment feel way bigger than just a post-match interview. Because when a champion like Sabalenka says another player pushes her mentally, emotionally, and competitively, she's stamping them as a true rival in every sense. She's basically saying, you make me better, you push me to another level. And trust me, that's one of the highest forms of respect in sports. What makes all of this even more interesting is the history these two share. Don't forget what went down when Coco Gauff beat Aryna Sabalenka in the Roland Garros final last year. Back then, Sabalenka's reaction stirred up a lot of controversy. Instead of fully crediting Coco, the focus shifted more towards Sabalenka's own performance and mistakes. A lot of fans felt Coco didn't get the recognition she truly earned for handling pressure, making adjustments, and winning one of the biggest titles in tennis. And at that point, their rivalry felt like it reached a boiling tension.
Not because she played incredible, just because I made all of those mistakes from, like, if you look from the outside, kind of like from an easy ball.
That's exactly why this shift in tone after Miami hit so hard. It signals real growth. It shows maturity on another level. And honestly, it proves that even the fiercest rivalries can evolve. Maybe winning that final gave Aryna Sabalenka the freedom to speak her truth finally. Maybe the emotion of the moment just cleared everything up for her. Or maybe, listen to this, she now truly recognizes how much Coco Gauff has shaped her journey at the very top. Whatever the reason is, the outcome speaks for itself. Sabalenka gave Gauff her flowers publicly, and the tennis world picked up on it instantly. And hold up, it didn't stop with Sabalenka. James Blake also stepped into the spotlight to spotlight Coco Gauff's incredible rise. He reflected on seeing Coco for the first time when she was only 15 and witnessing her growth beyond just the physical. And that right there matters more than people realize. Because with Coco Gauff, the raw talent was never in question. Everyone saw the speed, the movement, the coverage, the athleticism, and that fearless vibe early on. But what's really pushed her into that elite tier is how much she's leveled up mentally.
We've seen you burst on the scene at about 15 years old, and your athleticism was undeniable, but getting to know you since then, I'm even more impressed by your heart, your mental toughness, and your competitive spirit. What you bring to the table every single day in every match you play is an absolute credit to this sport and to your family.
Coco Gauff isn't that teenage prodigy anymore. She's now a refined, battle-tested, top-tier competitor who knows how to handle pressure, expectations, setbacks, criticism, and non-stop spotlight. She's leveled up every single year. She's added real depth to her game. She's become tougher when the stakes are highest. And that right there is why someone like James Blake highlights not just her physical rise, but her mental growth too. Even Aryna Sabalenka herself looked genuinely impressed by Coco's level late in the match. She admitted she could feel Coco making a push, turning up the intensity, raising her level, and threatening to flip the momentum. And listen, that's a huge part of this story. Even in defeat, Coco Gauff forced the world #1 to earn every single point. Sabalenka said she had to push herself to the absolute edge mentally and emotionally just to close it out. Think about that for a second. Even in a loss, Coco was so dangerous, so resilient, and so locked in that the best player in the world had to dig deep, really deep, to finish the job. That's why Coco Gauff may not have lifted the trophy, but she still walked away winning hearts. She reminded everyone why she's one of the most respected players in the game. She brought the fight, she brought composure, and maybe most importantly, she earned praise from someone who, for a long time, didn't fully give it. And that says a lot about Coco Gauff's presence in this sport. She doesn't just show up and compete, she commands respect the moment she steps on court. She forces greatness out of her opponents. She shifts the entire emotional energy of every big match she's in. When she walks onto that court, even the elite know they're about to be tested for real. And that's exactly why younger players are looking up to her so heavily right now. Alex Ayala is a perfect example. For a rising star to talk about Coco Gauff like facing her is an honor, that tells you everything about the aura she's built. That level of respect from another pro isn't random. Players understand how brutal this sport really is. They know how demanding life on tour can be. They know what it takes to survive at the highest level. So when one player speaks about another with that kind of admiration, it truly means something.
Aside, at the end of the day, I think there's still definitely a gap in terms of level between me and Coco. And
Win or lose tomorrow, I think it's great for me to learn. Obviously, facing a player like Coco is, something people would kill.
And what really stands out, listen to this, is that Coco's influence isn't just about wins and trophies, it's about how she carries herself. At the Australian Open, stories came out about Coco Gauff helping Alex Ayala, offering advice, sharing technical tips, and genuinely supporting a younger player. And that matters. It shows Coco isn't just building a name as a champion, she's stepping into a leadership role. And honestly, that's rare for someone this young. Most players don't take on that mentor mindset until much later in their careers. But Coco already seems to understand the responsibility that comes with her platform. That's a big reason why so many people find her inspiring. She represents excellence, but also generosity. She competes with intensity, but still lifts others. She has a superstar presence, yet stays grounded in the qualities that made fans connect with her from day one. And that's exactly why Aryna Sabalenka's words after Miami felt so powerful. They didn't just come out of nowhere. They came after years of tension, after major battles, after tough losses, after emotionally charged moments, and after a rivalry that helped shape the women's game. At that moment, Sabalenka seemed to acknowledge what the tennis world has been seeing for a while now. Coco Gauff isn't just a contender, not just a rising star, and not just a solid player. She is one of the driving forces in women's tennis. So yeah, Aryna Sabalenka may have taken the Miami Open 2026 title, but Coco Gauff walked away with something just as big. She walked away with undeniable respect. Respect from Sabalenka, respect from James Blake, respect from fellow pros like Alex Ayala, respect from legends like Maria Sharapova, and maybe most importantly, respect from a tennis world that now clearly sees Coco Gauff isn't just the future, she's the present. And if this rivalry keeps building the way it has, we might just be watching the start of an era owned by both Aryna Sabalenka and Coco Gauff. But moments like this make one thing crystal clear. Coco Gauff has become impossible to ignore, impossible to doubt, and impossible not to respect. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.